Nobody was ready for this to explode the way it did. Not the fans. Not the blogs. Not even the Braxton family themselves. Because when Tamar finally broke her silence, it didn't sound like a sister venting. It sounded like a bomb going off in the middle of a legacy. One sentence. One reaction. And suddenly, everything people thought they knew about the Braxtons shattered in real time. This wasn't shade. This wasn't a reality TV drama. This was Tamar allegedly pulling back the curtain on a relationship so messy, so uncomfortable, and so deeply buried that insiders say it was never supposed to see daylight. Towanda. Michael. A dynamic fan had been side-eyed for years, suddenly being whispered about in a very different tone. And then came the line that made everyone freeze. Ashley isn't just part of the story. She's the center of it. Social media erupted instantly. Clips started resurfacing. Old interviews hit differently. Fans replayed scenes they once laughed at and realized the tension wasn't scripted, it was real. Twitter turned into a war zone. Instagram comments spiraled out of control. And behind the scenes, alleged leaks started circulating that suggested Tamar didn't just snap. She finally refused to keep a secret that had been tearing the family apart. People claim there are messages, audio, conversations that were never meant to leave private rooms. And what makes this even more explosive is who Tamar says tried to silence her when she spoke up. Family loyalty versus truth. Protection versus exposure. Love twisted into something unrecognizable. Because if even half of what's being whispered is true, this isn't just another celebrity fallout. It's the unraveling of an entire family narrative. And once you hear what Tamar allegedly revealed next, you'll understand why this story feels too dark, too raw, and too real for television. The moment Tamar's voice cracked, during that interview, everything shifted. Not in a dramatic, reality TV way. In a way that made people sitting at home lean forward and whisper, "Oh, this is real." She wasn't ranting. She wasn't yelling. She sounded exhausted. Like someone who had carried a secret for years, and finally realized silence was doing more damage than truth ever could. And when she said she was done protecting narratives that never protected her, the internet knew exactly who she was talking about. Almost immediately, fans began connecting dots they'd ignored for years. Old Braxton family values clips resurfaced, not as nostalgia, but as evidence. Scenes where Towanda and Michael's dynamic felt tense in ways that never quite made sense. Moments where Tamar looked uncomfortable, quiet when she was usually loud, eyes darting like she was measuring every word. People slowed the footage down, paused it, re-watched expressions that now looked less like acting and more like restraint. Then the whispers started. Not new ones. Old ones that had been floating around message boards and comment sections, always shut down as too messy to be true. Allegedly, Tamar wasn't just upset about family disagreements. She was furious about a relationship dynamic she claims crossed lines no one wanted to acknowledge. Towanda. Michael. A connection fans had questioned privately, but never dared to say out loud, because of how explosive it sounded. And then Ashley's name entered the conversation. That's when everything escalated. According to alleged insider chatter, Tamar felt the family had been rewriting history in real time, protecting adults, while letting younger members absorb the fallout. People claim she tried to address it quietly. Privately. Family meetings that went nowhere. Conversations that ended with, "We don't talk about that." The kind of silence that doesn't heal, it rots. Social media noticed the shift before the blogs did. Fans pointed out that Tamar stopped engaging the same way with certain family members online. Likes disappeared. Comments stopped. Birthdays passed without posts. When someone asked about it during a live stream, Tamar reportedly paused, swallowed hard, and changed the subject. That clip went viral too, not for what she said, but for what she refused to. Then came the alleged leaks. Screenshots started circulating from accounts claiming to be close to the situation. No names. No profile pictures. Just messages that read like warnings. This isn't about jealousy. This isn't about fame. This is about boundaries that were crossed and ignored. People argued over whether they were fake, but what made them unsettling was how closely they lined up with Tamar's tone. Hurt. Protective. Angry in a way that only comes from betrayal. One particularly viral post claimed Tamar had confronted Towanda directly, accusing her of prioritizing appearances over accountability. The post alleged that the confrontation ended with raised voices, tears, and someone storming out while cameras were conveniently down. Whether true or not, fans remembered scenes where Tamar seemed isolated at family gatherings, sitting quietly while everyone else laughed. Those scenes suddenly felt different. Michael Braxton's name trending again sent shockwaves through the fandom. People began revisiting his past controversies, not as separate incidents, but as pieces of a larger puzzle. Theories exploded. Some fans accused the internet of going too far. Others argued that ignoring patterns was exactly how families like this implode quietly behind closed doors. And Ashley, always mentioned carefully, cautiously, became the emotional center of the storm. Allegedly, Tamar felt fiercely protective, claiming that the adults failed her in ways that could never be undone. Fans noticed Tamar's language shift whenever she spoke about the next generation. Less playful. More maternal. More urgent. Like someone trying to stop a cycle before it swallowed someone else. The chaos online became relentless. Twitter threads hit thousands of replies. TikTok creators made hour-long breakdowns dissecting every interaction between Towanda and Michael that had ever aired. Instagram comments turned vicious. Why did nobody step in? How long did everyone know? Was Tamar the only one willing to say something? Even neutral viewers admitted the energy felt wrong long before anyone put words to it. What made the situation even darker was the alleged attempt to shut Tamar up. Fans claim that shortly after her comments started circulating, vague statements began appearing from family sources, insisting things were being taken out of context. No direct denials. Just reminders about privacy. About respect. About not speculating. To many viewers, it sounded less like clarification and more like control. Tamar, however, didn't back down. In a follow-up moment that sent shockwaves through the fandom, she reportedly hinted that she had proof. Not gossip. Not hearsay. Messages. Conversations. Things she had sat on for years out of loyalty. Out of fear. Out of love for people who may not have deserved it. When asked why she hadn't spoken sooner, she allegedly said something that froze everyone watching, because telling the truth costs you everything. That sentence became the rallying cry. Suddenly, other voices chimed in. Not directly involved, but adjacent. People who'd worked around the family. People who claimed they'd witnessed tension that never made it to air. One former associate allegedly commented, "You only saw what was allowed." The comment was deleted within minutes. Screenshots lived forever. The pressure mounted. Towanda remained silent. Michael said nothing. That silence fractured the fandom even further. Supporters argued that quiet meant innocence. Critics argued it meant fear. Tamar's supporters pointed out that silence had protected the wrong people for too long. Then came the most chilling development yet. An anonymous account dropped, what they claimed was a partial transcript of a private. Then the leaks intensified. An anonymous account, claiming to be connected to production, dropped a thread that sent shockwaves through the fandom. According to this alleged insider, several moments involving Towanda and Michael were intentionally edited out over the years, because they made test audiences uncomfortable. Not dramatic uncomfortable. Disturbing uncomfortable. The account claimed producers flagged scenes where the energy shifted in the room, where Tamar allegedly went silent, where other sisters exchanged looks that didn't make it to air. No proof was provided, but longtime viewers swore they remembered awkward cuts, sudden transitions, moments that never quite added up. Almost instantly, people began pulling receipts of their own. Side-by-side clips. Before and after edits. Scenes that abruptly ended when conversations turned too real. TikTok creators slowed audio, isolated background dialogue, claiming you could hear Tamar say, "This isn't okay," before a cut to commercial. Whether true or not, the theory caught fire, because it fit the narrative people were now seeing clearly for the first time. And then Towanda's name started trending for a very different reason. A resurfaced interview clip from years ago began circulating, one that had gone largely unnoticed at the time. In it, Towanda laughed nervously when asked about family boundaries, then quickly redirected the conversation. Fans now replayed it with fresh eyes. The laugh sounded forced. The redirect felt defensive. Comment sections flooded with "How did we miss this?" and "This hits different now." The internet loves hindsight, especially when it feels like revelation. Michael Braxton's past became unavoidable in the conversation. Old headlines resurfaced. Old accusations re-examined. Not as isolated incidents, but as part of a pattern that people now claim Tamar had been reacting to all along. Supporters argued she'd been sounding the alarm quietly for years, only to be dismissed as dramatic, difficult, emotional. Now those same traits were being reframed as survival instincts. And Ashley remained the quiet center of it all. Fans began dissecting every time Tamar spoke about her. The protectiveness. The urgency. The way her voice reportedly changed when discussing the younger generation. One clip went viral where Tamar allegedly said, "Kids don't get to choose the mess they are born into." The comment section exploded. People read it as a confession without details, the kind that carries more weight than a full explanation. Behind the scenes, the alleged pressure on Tamar escalated. Blog insiders claimed she was being urged to clarify her statements, to soften the narrative, to stop the speculation. But instead of backtracking, Tamar reportedly doubled down in private conversations, telling friends she was done being the family scapegoat. That sentiment resonated with fans, who'd watched her be labeled too much for years while deeper issues went unaddressed. Then came the most unsettling alleged leak yet. A short audio clip began circulating in closed groups. No faces. No names. Just voices. One sounding emotional. One sounding defensive. A third cutting in sharply, saying, "This stays in the family." The clip cut off abruptly, leaving listeners hanging in stunned silence. No verification. No confirmation. But the tone alone was enough to send chills through the community. People debated endlessly whether it was real. Others said it didn't matter, it sounded like truth. Celebrity reactions poured gasoline on the fire. Other reality stars posted cryptic messages about family secrets and breaking cycles. One singer tweeted, "Protecting kids shouldn't be controversial," then deleted it. Another commented under a fan post, "Sometimes the loudest silence tells you everything." None of them mentioned names. They didn't have to. Everyone knew exactly what they were referencing. Towanda finally responded, sort of. A vague Instagram story appeared late at night. No text. Just a quote about lies spreading faster than truth. Comments were turned off. Fans immediately interpreted it as deflection. Not denial. Not accountability. Just distance. And distance, in this moment, felt like confirmation to those already convinced. Tamar, meanwhile, went quiet again. No posts. No lives. No interviews. That silence felt different. Not controlled. Not strategic. Heavy. Like someone bracing themselves. Fans speculated she was being advised legally. Others believed she was preparing to release something bigger. Something undeniable. Then a verified source dropped the line that shifted the entire narrative. In a comment under a viral video, someone claiming to have worked closely with the family wrote, "Tamar didn't expose anything new. She exposed what everyone else refused to stop." The comment was liked thousands of times before disappearing. Screenshots captured it mid-like, mid-scroll, mid-explosion. The implication was terrifying. This wasn't about revealing a secret for the first time. It was about ending a pattern that had been enabled for years. A pattern people chose not to challenge, because it was easier to maintain the image. Easier to protect the brand. Easier to let one sister carry the weight of being difficult, while others stayed comfortable. As the internet debated itself into exhaustion, one final rumor began circulating quietly, almost respectfully. According to alleged insiders, Tamar wasn't finished speaking, but she wasn't planning to talk online. She was preparing to confront everything in one controlled setting. No editing. No cuts. No family filtering the narrative. A setting where nothing could be hidden. And the last message from the same anonymous account that had leaked the earlier audio sent chills through everyone who read it. If what she says next comes out, there's no going back for anyone involved. That's when fans realized this wasn't escalating anymore. It was approaching a point of no return. By the time the story reached this stage, it stopped feeling like celebrity drama, and started feeling like something everyone was witnessing in real time, but nobody could control. The air around the Braxton name felt heavier. Fans weren't refreshing feeds for entertainment anymore. They were waiting, anxious, bracing for whatever Tamar was rumored to say next. Because all signs pointed to one truth: she wasn't retreating. She was regrouping. The first crack in the dam came from an unexpected place. A radio host, someone known for sitting on sensitive information until it was absolutely safe to speak, hinted during a live segment that Tamar had already recorded something very difficult and very final. The host didn't say interview. Didn't say podcast. Didn't say TV. Just said it was on record and cannot be edited. That sentence alone sent shockwaves through fan spaces. People immediately assumed it meant raw audio. Uncut. No family approval. No narrative control. Behind the scenes, alleged panic began leaking out. Anonymous posts claimed emergency family meetings were happening. Lawyers were being consulted. Calls were allegedly made urging Tamar to reconsider, to think about the legacy, to think about the children, a phrase that fans immediately twisted back around. Because if Tamar's entire stance was about protecting children, why was that suddenly the argument being used against her? Then came the most unsettling rumor yet. Multiple sources claimed Towanda had reached out privately, not to deny anything, but to ask Tamar to stop. Not because it wasn't true, but because it would destroy everything. That wording haunted fans. Destroy what? Careers? Relationships? Or the carefully maintained illusion that had allowed everyone to move forward without ever addressing the damage underneath? Michael remained completely silent. No statements. No cryptic quotes. No vague stories. That silence became deafening. Supporters argued it was legal advice. And then Tamar broke her silence, not with words, but with action. A single link appeared briefly in her bio. No caption. No announcement. Just a link that led to a countdown. No branding. No title. Just a timer. Fans lost their minds. Theories exploded. Was it a sit-down? A statement? A documentary? A release of messages? The countdown vanished less than an hour later, but the damage was done. Everyone knew something was coming. Industry insiders began speaking in hushed tones. One claimed that if Tamar followed through, it would permanently fracture the family, but also permanently free her. Another said the family had underestimated how much public support she would receive once people realized this wasn't about drama, but about accountability. Tawanda's social media activity slowed to almost nothing. No casual posts. No engagement. Just distance. Fans speculated she was being advised to stay quiet, until whatever Tamar was planning either dropped or dissolved. Every move, or lack of one, was being read as strategy. The most chilling moment came when a fan asked during a live Q&A on an unrelated platform whether some family secrets should stay buried for the sake of peace. The host paused, then said, "Peace that depends on silence isn't peace. It's postponed." The clip went viral instantly. Everyone knew exactly what it was about. And then, late one night, Tamar posted again. No explanation. No accusations. Just one sentence. Truth doesn't destroy families. Lies do. Comments were disabled. That was the moment people realized this wasn't going to end quietly. Whatever Tamar had been carrying, she was done carrying it alone. And whatever the family had been trying to contain, it was no longer fully in their control. As the internet waited for the drop, the interview, the recording, the confrontation, one final alleged insider message circulated that left everyone unsettled. She's not exposing them. She's exposing the system that protected them. And with that, the story reached its most dangerous point yet. Because once a truth moves from being whispered to being documented, there's no editing it out. No cutting to commercials. No pretending it never happened. Only the fallout. And the only question left was not if it would come, but who would be standing when it finally did. Before you scroll, before you click another video, understand this: stories like this don't get clearer with time. They get rewritten. Pieces disappear. Narratives shift. And the people who weren't paying attention early are the ones who end up completely confused when the truth finally lands. What's unfolding right now isn't just celebrity gossip. It's a family legacy cracking in real time, and every move from here on out is going to matter. Clips will be taken down. Statements will be clarified. People will suddenly claim they were misunderstood. And once that happens, the original context is gone forever. That's why you can't sit this one out. If you've been watching Tamar for years, if you've ever felt like something wasn't adding up, if your gut is telling you this story goes deeper than what made it to TV, this is your moment to lock in. Hit like so this conversation doesn't get buried or rewritten. Drop a comment with what you think Tamar is really fighting for, because these comment sections are where patterns get exposed and where people compare notes before the narrative changes again. And most importantly, subscribe with notifications on. Because when the next piece drops, whether it's a statement, a recording, or something nobody's prepared for, it's not going to wait for you. The people who show up late will only see the fallout. The people who stay now will understand how it all unraveled. This story isn't done. Not even close. And trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next.